This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
Welcome to another episode of Crush This Monster Podcast presented by J Concepts. Finally, we have J Concepts that has helped me out with my personal stuff with RC trucks and also with the podcast. Well, I never had any of the equipment that's behind me. So there we go, guys. There's some of the J Concept products there. We got the No Problem Ford that I run on my retro. It's all J Concepts right there, with the Ford Bronco body, the Gold Years, the Tribute rims, the regulator chassis, and the 27-turn speed sensor motors that J Concept runs. Those are pretty cool. Take a look at that. Then off on the, I gotta figure out what shoulder I'm at. The left shoulder here is the West Virginia Mountaineer, the new 1997 F-150 body that they came out with the regulator tires and Tribute rims, and the 17-turn silent speed motors that they also have also. So the chassis is ACRC, which is, people may not know, is ran by Mr. Bob Chandler Jr. Yes, the Godfather himself. His son runs RCs. He created the chassis that's on that truck. So go to jconcepts.net there we go, for 15% off all items out checkout. Go take a look at that stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Also, Monster Truck Attitude. I just won the pay-per-view kind of event there for final Fatal 4-Way. Also got the nice little shirt here too with that. Go take a look at that on Monster Truck Attitude on Facebook, on YouTube, and show some love with that too. Go to our spread shop. Awesome hat right here. Big, Bad, and Blown. Go there. Cool designs. Go to Crush This, a Monster Truck Podcast. MySpreadShop.com. Show some love there too. And then Gears for Life. Bryce Kenny coming up. And he has a cool book. Go on Amazon.com and take a look at that stuff too. There's the book, Gears for Life, Making the Shift into Your Full Potential. Show some love there also. And then also with that, go to limslikeme.org and show some love for Cole Vinard. He has a nice group that helps prosthetic arms, legs, anything that amputees have that's having a difficult time in life. If you want more information, go to lminfo@limslikeme.org and take a look at the site for help. Even if you have trouble yourself, go there and show some love and stuff like that too. But for today's awesome guest, which we started off with the intro because the StreamYard suggested doing an intro, and then so we want to thank also our sponsors, MTRC, and then Back Channel will be at the end of the film, or the film end of this podcast there. So we'll take a look at that. Hall Brothers Racing, Bradshaw Designs, J Concepts, like I said, much more. But while we're at it here now our intro is a little bit shorter. We have Steve Thompson Jr. We haven't had him on in quite some time, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And last time we talked, you were already kind of left and doing your own thing in the real world, I guess, civilian life. And it looks like the bug had caught you. We're going to do a little bit of some catching up here and stuff like that. I know in the beginning of the year, you were doing a lot of stuff for Vodders and stuff like that. So how was that going on? You're driving their new truck and just going around with that.
Oh yeah, man, that was awesome. We did like you said, did first quarter of Botters, ran the Taurus truck. Halfway through, we got changed over to the Overkill truck, so got to test that thing out too. It's a whole nother animal compared to what we're normally used to. So that was really cool to experience that one there. And then, as some know, we went to the Canadian tour. Got to debut the Superfoot up there. I don't want to say debut. Got to re-debut it, I guess you want to say. So that was really cool, to be there in front of all the Arels and the family who created the truck and created Monster Spectacular. To be in front of them and to do that without their knowledge of it, man, that was awesome. That's for sure.
So tell about the story about the Superfoot, because I know Vodders comes up with these crazy ideas and stuff like that, which is freaking awesome. But was you tell the story about that truck, and also how did you guys keep it from leaking out?
Yeah. So that truck actually was debuted in 1984, 85, 86, something like that. I can't remember the exact year. But obviously it was the first truck in Canada, first truck in Quebec, actually. So, Richard Arel, he's the guy who started Monster Spectacular, the big promotion company up in Canada. He started that. They had the truck here, which Chris Arel, he drove that. Let's step back, step ahead 30 plus years. And we go to Montreal. Mike Vodders has this awesome idea to let's surprise them guys. Let's make this body happen. We're not going to tell no one about it except for one person. And so we went to Canada about 3 days early before the show, got this thing back in the stadium, hidden into some room. This thing's looking brand new. Kept having to tell the promoter, the truck's stuck at the customs, stuck at the border. It'll be here. It'll be here. It'll be here. So after a while of lying to the guy, I kind of felt bad, had to go hide in the rig for a couple hours. But, during the show though, they played this presentation for the family itself and, thanking them, I guess, for the 40 years of Monster Trucking and, the promotion and whatnot. And then they kind of played a little video of the truck itself, and a little throwback. And then last minute, we opened the big doors and come blasting out of the tunnel onto the floor. And, like I said, Richard and Chris and Matthew, all them guys were there. No one knew about it. And very emotional for them guys, which was awesome to be part of it. And just to show the appreciation of them, it was definitely a cool experience. That's for sure.
And then Trey did the body, correct?
He did. Trey did the body. It's just basically your high-rise Suburban body is actually what it is. So they did that. Trey made a mold up for it. And it was very secretive. That's for sure. Not maybe a handful of people know about it, but it turned out cool. A lot of people like it, and they're actually getting ready to take it this weekend to the Hall of Fame show out there in Indiana this year.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You ran that a little bit and stuff like that, and you also ran numerous names too. I think you drove a little bit for Mikey and Overkill, and then Taurus and stuff like that. But when did the we're gonna let the elephant out of the room right now. I mean, what's behind you? You are now, I guess this year, you could say you are a monster truck owner, owner and operator. So how I know CJ was filling in, people in this may not know Tim passed away last year, and CJ was filling in all the dates pretty much that, his dad did. But I know him and his family kind of want to step down a little bit, but how did the process go with you getting the hands on, storm damage / now Hurricane Force?
Excuse me. Like you said, CJ, he did an awesome job fulfilling the dates that were already priorly booked to it. And then, I guess life took a different path, I guess you want to say. And, Sandy, which is Tim's wife, called me one day and basically said, you've been here for a long time. You've been helping this team. You've helped, build the team to what it is. And, we're stepping down. We kind of want to, like I said, take another path in life, and you get first dibs. This is your opportunity, and so that was incredible, to be able to hear that. And it was something my brother and I always talked about, getting a truck and getting a team of our own going. Once this opportunity came about, man, we had to do whatever it took to make it happen. And, very luckily and thankfully we were able to make it happen. And so we're out there, carrying on the legacy of Mike and Tim Mente and, trying to do the best we can for them.
So people may not know, this is, I think, the middle girl. This was Tim's actual personal kind of race truck when you had the other truck where it was modified, and now that's Donnie's up north, whatever the truck is. And then your Eddie chassis now is one of the Team Throttle monster trucks that is touring around the country. So I guess this truck that's behind you has, I guess you have driven less than the other ones. You mentioned about it beforehand that this one, you and this truck didn't have a very good relationship at first.
Yeah, this truck here we built from scratch in like 2012, I believe it was. So it was Tim's third chassis. This is his. He always said this was his last chassis. So he built this truck for him. Designed it basically what everything he wanted was. How the truck turned out. But yeah, I mean, basically this truck, we've driven it a handful of times. It was always a headbutting contest, I guess you want to say. There was always some kind of issue me and her had, but it's one of those things. The more you work with the truck, the more you drive the truck, the more you learn it. You know how every truck has its own attitude. I've always said you can build two brand new trucks identical side by side, and those trucks are going to be completely two different animals. They're not going to be nothing alike. So, every truck, like I said, has its own personality, and you just got to learn it.
And you also are rocking the body that you've been that was on the Speed Network a lot, and it was the popular one that a lot of people at the Monster Jam side of the world recognize the Hurricane Force, because you did a lot of that stuff in stadiums and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool, getting that body back on the truck. Were you thinking about getting a new, not a new identity, but a new levy or a new look, or did you want the look to come back?
I have multiple ideas on things I want to do. A lot of the reason is we got this paint scheme. Not only do I like it, it kind of goes with the name itself. There's a picture to the name, I guess you want to say. But this one here, like I said, this one, it has a lot of sentimental value to me a little bit. We went to the World Finals with this body, and we went all over the country, all over Canada. We've been to Mexico with this body, and it's a big stepping stone in my career, I guess you want to say. But yeah, it's one of those things that we had not only multiple pieces of this body, but we had a full body, and it's we kind of stood back, looked at it, and said, why not? I think it's going to look good. And we kind of did a little survey on the social media, and a lot of people really liked it. So I guess you want to say popular vote. We got it back on there, and we'll run it for a little bit. But we do have some other ideas. We've talked to Trey. He's got multiple different bodies. So we've talked to him about some ideas, throwing some things back and forth. So it's hard to say what the future is going to bring.
Man, that's awesome. Excuse me. But with that too, does the CJ and all of them still catch up with you about it and stuff like that?
We try to, not as often as not as close as we were, I guess you want to say. And that's, no one's fault. Just it's life. We got this going, and it's definitely keeping us a lot more busy than what we were anticipating. And CJ's got his own thing going on. I know he's been helping out with Steve Sims a bunch, and we've seen him at a couple shows and whatnot. So we definitely do keep in touch with him, but unfortunately it's not as much as I'd like to, I guess.
So this is kind of a business type question side. You took a little bit of a little bit of a break. You come back this year. I know you were working with Vodders and stuff, but you got this truck back. Was it easy for you at first, or was it kind of rough to start getting bookings and starting running shows with, bringing the name back and stuff like that?
To an extent, it was easy. I don't want to say easy, but we have a little bit of a reputation, so we not only, we're not going into this thing blindfolded. We know what we're going, got an idea of what's going on and how to present it and whatnot. As far as the business side, we're learning that still. It's turning wrenches and holding the wheel. That's the easy part of this business, that's for sure. But it's, I don't know, man. It's an awesome experience. We're thankful for it, and it's just one of those things. We take it for granted, and we just keep rolling forward with it, and hopefully it grows bigger and bigger.
You did a lot. I think you did some overdrive shows You just got done doing the Bloomsfield Fairgrounds, a legendary spot for monster truck racing and stuff like that. Uh, I think actually, a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, you had your rollover.
Yeah.
How talk about that?
It was. We go back to the whole thing of we're still learning this truck. It has a whole different attitude. In that case there, we were learning the stoppies in this truck, going for the moonwalks, really starting to, try to figure out the balance point on that one. And it was one of those deals, man, just a little too much throttle and one or two more forward than we wanted to. The frame caught before the tires could catch up with us and just put us right on the roof. But yeah, like I said, it's a learning curve. It sucks. It bums you out, but you know what? It's part of it,
Mm, and so you also the trailer also with this truck too. You have some history with that trailer also. The double monster truck trailer that Mente has is also with Team Throttle Monster, but this one's off of what you guys used to had before you guys got the double, the triple drop. I mean, so that's once again pretty cool to know about. Also,
Yeah, this trailer and I have a lot of history. A lot of good, a lot of bad. We put some miles on this thing all over, and this is the trailer we took to the World Finals twice, and like I said, a lot of memories in it. So it was definitely cool to be able to make a package deal. I guess you want to say it's set up for 2 trucks already. So future, the big future plan is I like to have 2 trucks, and we're kind of ahead of the game. I guess you want to say if that would happen, the trailer's ready to go for it. So that was kind of the brainstorm behind it. A buddy of mine does, he bought a truck, so we go on the road and the couple shows he did have, we put him in here and piggyback down the road and help him out, get going, and just try to keep everyone happy and help everyone out and keep on going.
That's the Metal Monster truck, right?
That's the Metal Monster truck. It was the original. I don't want to say original. I know it was an early Rap Attack chassis. Later sold to Bill Brockman, who ran the Shockwave on it. He sold it. The truck sat in New York for quite some time, I believe. Guy ran it up there, put a couple shows, and did a ton of work to it. It was sold to another gentleman out at Roswell, New Mexico, and he bought it, never did nothing with it. It sat in a barn for like 10 years, and I heard a rumor about it, looked the track up, gave him a call, and started talking to them and make that deal happen. So, like I said, he's done about 4 or 5 shows this year. He's getting a lot of he's got a lot of potential, but it's seat time. That's how we all learn. And like I said, we try to help him out as best as we can and help him get up and down the road and help one another out. That's what we do.
It's kind of cool though, having that little bit of that Eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland type deal. You had that truck, the Metal Monster, and then JR got his first ownership on the monster truck world, getting one up north. It's pretty cool seeing where everyone has came from and still pursuing, I guess, still today with all the wins and all the Monster Jam events and stuff like that you've been a part of, Steven. This is another marking stone in your career, owning a monster truck, and the dream just keeps on going.
That's it. I mean, not only myself, I was a fan, you were a fan, JR is a fan, and it's cool to watch us all now. Not only driving, I have my truck, JR owns a truck, you're in the seat. It's a cool, first time I met you, we were a crew guy for, Feld, and just started talking and hanging out, became good friends, and it's just awesome to see how everyone, not only chases their dreams, but no one gives up. You can't give up, and it's how it goes. Hard work definitely pays off, dedication pays off, and it's all about how bad do you want that dream. And if you want it, there's nothing that can hold you back, and you just go for it.
So so I was, while you were saying that, I was thinking this too. You're wrenching and driving, and you're doing all the stuff for Tim and stuff like that. With you becoming a new owner and driver, was there a certain situation where you kind of saw what Tim did and you shook your head, but until now you're an owner, now you understand what he meant?
Oh, absolutely. It's I relate to him every day. It's just the way he did things. There was a rhyme, there was a reason. You may not know then, but now, looking back at it, it's like, oh, it makes total sense. That's, you may look at things as like, just it's 50 more bucks, buy the new piece. But at the same time, I see, you got to run it as a business. You just can't go out there and splurge and splurge and splurge, because at the end of the day, you have a bad week, you have an issue, a transmission or motor, you got to have that bank, and got to have that banking in the back there to help get you back on the road and get going again. And but yeah, absolutely. Tim was an incredible role model for this here, and we talk about the dude every day. I miss the dude, but I think he'd be proud of me, and that's what I keep telling myself.
Was there one thing that he taught you that has been stuck in your head that, in the future, like, may not be something like an argument or something like that, but was there something like he taught you something that got you to go, okay, I got what you're saying here, that been stuck to your mind?
There's not one thing that really sticks out to me, but there's been multiple things that he really drove into my head, I guess you want to say, to not only stay on top of things, but to help you out in the long run. But prime example, valves. We'd come home every 2 weeks, no matter what. We're going to run valves. We're going to we're going through this motor no matter what. And, every 6 months we'd pull the motor out just to even if it was good, we're going to pull this thing out. We're putting the fresh one in to help keep the maintenance costs down, keep the preventive maintenance up. But yeah, like I said, I mean, a lot of things that he taught me over the years, and it's definitely stuck with me. And we're thankful to be able to meet the mentees and get involved with them. And I definitely wouldn't be here without him. That's for sure.
And we're going to go back in time, but maybe fans may not know, but how did that relationship started? How did you meet with Tim? You're a Hagerstown boy, and you could have went to, this team or that team, but you started off with a fresh new team. You're with him. He got the Taurus 3 truck. You were there from the very beginning all the way close to the end. Every single truck that was in the stable, you had your hands on. So, how did that relationship started? I don't think we actually told the story about that. So,
yeah, actually, I started working for Mike Botters back in early 2000s. I was still in school, just kind of weekend warrior thing. We got done a show up in Englishtown, New Jersey, and in my head, the season was over, so I rushed back to the shop and get to work. I was a young and dumb kid, and pretty irresponsible at the time, and Mike just had enough of it, and him and I parted ways. And that's when Tim was just getting started. Like I said, he bought the Taurus 3 chassis, and he went up and asked Mike's blessing. Do you mind if I hire this guy? He knows. I didn't know a lot, but I knew enough to get help out here. Let's get things going. So once I started with Tim, it was hands-on, very hands-on. And we started out with one truck, and, like I said, that's when we started building. He went from the Taurus 3 chassis to the chassis that Donnie has. We built that one in 2009. He got the new chassis. I got the Taurus chassis, and man, that was the best piece back in the day, so it was definitely cool there. And then, we just continued, we just kept growing bigger and bigger and expanding. And then 2012, we built the chassis that's here behind me. That was Tim's personal chassis, like we said. And 2018, I guess it was, we're going to need another truck. We're going to keep getting bigger, and, we're running harder, and, equipment it can hold up to it, but we just need something a little bit more, so we built the Eddie chassis. And, but yeah, we were pretty much from day one, I guess you want to say, up until the end of it, we were there with Tim. And, I guess you want to say I was kind of Tim's right-hand man with things. And, bad storms, he would stay home and work the real job thing. I'd take the trucks out, and it just got to the point where Tim's just like, I don't even need to be here, just here's the schedules and we'll see you later. So, it was definitely cool. A lot of trust in him, and, a lot of respect, and that's for sure. But it was definitely a big stepping stone in my career for sure.
You still remember the time? Can you tell the story when Tim told you you're going to jump in the Taurus and you're going to see how you do?
Yeah. Thompson, Connecticut, I believe it was. We headed up there, and more or less, here's your shot. This is what we're going to do, and that. And I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. The chassis was nothing like I've ever driven before. It's got lockers front and rear, doesn't turn. So you really had to make the truck turn. You had to make that truck really work. But it was definitely an incredible thing, and to be able to just not only drive a piece of history like that, but to be able to drive for a guy that you don't really know, and he's allowing you to just here's all this money and this equipment, and go out there and see what you can do. But it was definitely cool, that's for sure.
Nick Davis, this new guy, I don't know. But he said, what are those Taurus tail slaps like?
They're not too hateful, actually. That truck had not a lot of weight in the rear, as a lot of know. So it had the I call it the Tom Mintz hop. All the trucks had that little bit of rebound bounce in the rear, but it wasn't hateful. Yeah. It was enough to know. It didn't hurt you, but it definitely it let you know it was there. Like I said, it was one of those things, man. That, for a truck built in the day, it was the best thing out there. But to drive it today, it's going to be a little bit different. But it was definitely a learning curve, that's for sure.
Yeah, and like we talked about also, when you got back with that truck, was it like kind of like riding a bicycle?
Yes and no. This truck here, from the last time I drive it to what it was when I got it was a big difference. So we had to, it was like riding a bike, yes, but at the same time we kind of had to learn the bike. This chassis is different setup from what I was used to. It's nothing really like what I drove. It has its own personality and whatnot, just the way everything's laid out. So, it had the same concept of the truck, but it had its own, like I said, its own little attitude, I guess you want to say.
Was there some differences between that JMB truck compared to the one that you drove previously?
Yes, this chassis here is actually stepped in on the front and rear, kind of like how the Eddie chassis are, where the other JMB chassis was a straight rail, no step in. So the shock angles were a little bit different. The truck handled different. The motor in this truck also sits more forward and also sits further down in the cradle. So, the center of gravity is also different from this one.
And we got a couple comments here. It seems like you had some past history with either the truck Taurus or the name Taurus, because Nick also mentioned saying you joined the Taurus Barrel Roll Club too. And then Steve Jones from Monster Truck Attitude said, Hagerstown 2023 Saturday night, you launched a truck first in freestyle and broke the left front wheel off. He said he was there and it was an epic moment.
Yeah, it was it was definitely cool. We got talking about that, the first truck you drive in competition as your full-time rod being, Taurus, to 10, 15 years later, you're driving Taurus again in a whole nother identity, a whole nother chassis. But it was kind of a surreal moment. Going back to Hagerstown, man, that's our hometown. We're 5 minutes from that show. We tried to set the bar high, and as we all know, it always doesn't work. It goes a lot better in your head. You put your stupid helmet on, and there it goes. But fortunately, no one was hurt. It was just parts, so it's all good.
And then you this season or this year has been kind of busy for you too. You had kind of shows throughout the summer and stuff like that. So are you planning on doing just spring, summer, fall, or you want to do some stuff during the winter?
As of right now, we're taking first quarter off, I guess you want to say. We are booking stuff in April, so it's more of the weather. I don't want to be myself. I don't want to be out in the weather, dealing with that all the time. But our schedule definitely, from buying the truck, taking ownership in it, and April, May area, booking shows in. It's like, I don't know if we're going to get anything. So you know how it goes. You really got to be on top of it. A lot of guys are booked up by that time. We got some stragglers. We got what we could, and it turned in from say 8 shows to we were every weekend this year. Even with a couple things in between, 4 or 5 shows, Saturdays, a Tuesday show, a Wednesday show here, back to this place here. So it kept us busy, and I definitely don't see it slowing down anytime soon. That's for sure.
Any ideas you want to do to update the truck behind you?
Um, Other than body wise, the chassis itself is very stout. This thing really hasn't had a hard life on it. It had a couple hard crashes, but nothing real bad. We were talking about maybe doing in the future, about going to the aluminum 4-link bars. I'd like to try them out. A lot of guys are starting to change them up, and a couple of the guys that are running them are really running their trucks and breaking things up, but they're really starting to hold up. Not starting to, but they're really holding up, showing their strength. So we talked about that. Other than that, we've talked about maybe stripping it down, going through it completely, powder coating the chassis black. But it's one of those things. We're just going to keep on rolling with it. If we get the time and money, we're going to do it. But until then, we're just going to keep on putting lipstick on the pig, make it look good as we can, and keep on going.
And right now, how many more shows do you have left right now?
As of right now, we have 3 shows left. We got one in Pennsylvania next weekend, one in Virginia, I believe 2 in Virginia, actually, later on in the month. But other than that, we're kind of slowing down, really starting to focus on, improvements, not only on the truck, but in the trailer, just making things better. We got some side work lined up, things like that. So, as of now, like I said, we only got about 2-3 shows left, but we're kind of not really looking, but if things come in our way, we're going to take it.
And also, I mean, we let's see here. What's up? How you doing? Angles in mind. Yeah, we just answered that question there, Phil. Philip Norman was on. He said, "What's up? How you doing? Any goals in mind that you want to happen?" I think right now just to do shows next year and stuff like that. Improve the. I don't know if that was a both of us question for both of us or just for you, but the future looks good right now, right?
Yeah, that it does. We're always hoping for that Phil's pickle dip sponsor on the side of it, but it's gonna be one of them things. It's time.
I want him to send some samples, but he says he's always out all the time. Seems like I call it the wrong time.
Well, that's good though. It's got to be good stuff if you're always out of stock.
Yeah. I try to call him as soon as the ad pops up. Nope, he's out. So Phil, hook us up next time. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your brother, Mike. He left us in 2019. I know for a lot of the fans, they knew him, as your brother, but also drove for Team Scream and all of these awesome opportunities. The Slipco's. I think he drove for Vaughters a little bit, didn't he? I know he drove for Greg, for Lumberjack and stuff like that. But it was hard for me to find a question to ask, about that because I met him too. He was kind of the first one that took time to say, hey, this is what's going on, need some help, stuff like that. When I was a volunteer, I was a weekend jockey at Pittsburgh in 2013. Yeah, it was when they debuted the new backdraft, which Paul and them are running currently, the one with the international clip and stuff like that. And with that, what have changed for you, being who you are, and everyone says you have that giant void that you can't fill in that void, but with Mikey, what got you to change your life around? Or I guess wouldn't say it around, but
right. Like you said, there's a void that you can never fill. You just you learn how to live with it, I guess. It never does get easier, but you learn to live off of it. You take the negatives and you make it a positive. I've learned that a lot. I've learned self-help. It's bigger than what I've always thought. Just a lot of things. I've opened my eyes up to a lot of things. Like I said, just the mental health. I learned that it. Just because you're suffering doesn't mean you show. We've learned a lot. a lot of life lessons, I guess you want to say. We've not only myself, my parents, we've all just taken the negative and we're making it positive. It's something, we don't want to be shamed of it. It's a lot of people, they got this issue, this depression, and it's a bigger issue than this world and than what it's put off to be. But it's one of those things we don't want to hide. We just want to put the word out there. Maybe it'll help someone. A lot of the times I fly the mental health, suicide awareness prevention flag, and just that there, we've had a lot of people come up to me and just say thank you, or they tell their story or whatever it may be, and just that there, I feel that it may not be nothing that I want to show, but it's helping people. And if I can help someone just by showing that flag on the truck, by showing we care, that's what it's about, man. And like I said, you take that negative and you make it something positive. And we lost someone that we dearly love, but if we can save 10, 15 other people just because we listen to them, and that's awesome. That's what it's about.
Well, you're sending a message throughout the country anyway with the flag. That's cool that people are recognizing that, seeing that. But the one thing I noticed with Mike also is how many people loved him, not just in the monster truck internals, but like the fans.
Oh yeah.
All the people that have the decals and representing him and stuff like that. Talk about the fans that come up to you and bring him up to you.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It truly is. This kid, for being a young man, and that what he's accomplished and the impact he put on other people's lives, it's incredible. We still have people come up to me and still put in their condolences or tell me a little story about first time they've seen Mike, or what he did at the show. And I've had a couple people come up and hand me pictures of pictures that they took, of their own personal collection, nothing professional, but they're giving me pictures like that. And just that there, I mean, like I said, it's been 5 years since we lost them, and people still do that, man. That's amazing. It's just, like I said, it really shows how many people he touched in their lives, and good, bad, or whatever it is, he affected a lot of people.
Yeah, he was a traveler though, so many teams and stuff like that. And I thought that maybe bring him up to have fans need closure also about him. The way, there's so many people, not just him. There's a lot of people going through battles that we all don't know about. Someone once told me, saying, "What was the strongest thing you ever did?" And he said to me, ask for help.
Yep.
I didn't really thought about that. As in, like, what do you mean? But then when you're in such a situation, you're on an ongoing battle with yourself of saying, I need to let go of my pride, or I need to keep my pride, or some type of situation where it's like, I'll feel weak if I don't do this, or something like that. And that's not the case. I mean, if you have someone helping you out, fixing the problem, you move on to the next one.
That's it. Why it's a lot of I myself, I have a lot of time, not only I have a hard time asking for help, not only my personal help, but just, and help in general, picking this up or moving this. I'm one of them people. And you're right, to swallow your pride. I mean, to admit something's not right and you need to talk. That's step number one, man. That step is the biggest step ever. That's what the acknowledgement is. And, you have an issue, and that's when you need to help. It's just, I don't even know. It's we help one another out, and no matter what, we're all humans at the end of the day, and we're all here for one another, and that's what it's about.
I did like thank you for, I always keep him on honor. The for me, that couple weeks, or those couple weeks with the passing of your brother, and then what happened to Mason Orr with the Max D truck, it's kind of still hits me good around here because the crops and the corn and stuff like that's so high that the situation for him was, someone ran a stop sign just going through a corn pasture, crossways. He
Yep.
stopped. The guy didn't stop. He skipped the stop sign and took him
Yep.
out.
Yep.
So I mean, it's those couple uh days or the week, a couple days between the two is always a kind of a hard, thing to look back on because um, it kind of is rough. But then again, I always think of the happy times and stuff like that, and the the interview that your brother did, like with Ricky Bobby in Minneapolis. I was there at the hands and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and then Mason uh, doing an interview, and he's in the background. He goes, "Suck it, Cheech," and then leaves and walks in, and you can hear it, but they edited it out and stuff. Caden Berry said, "Apples, I'm proud of you."
Yeah. Thank you, man. It's definitely cool. Like I said, Caden, to where he started to where he is, man, hats off to him as well. And it's just cool to, I guess this is our generation, like I said, we get to watch, you, Dan, and JRC Sock, and just all these guys that we all kind of grew up together with. And, we were all the fans, and now here we are, we're in the spotlight, and this is our time. And it's just awesome. That is for sure.
We got a few fan questions, and one of them is Devin Threat. Sorry, bud. He said, "What's your favorite thing to do while driving a monster truck at a show?"
My favorite thing, I don't really have a favorite thing per se. I really favor the freestyle. I was a fan long before I was a driver, and to be able to put the smile on the people's face and make them cheer, man, that's what I'm about. I love putting on the show. I really, try to put on the best thing we can for the fans, because it's truly, we say it all the time, but if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do it. They spend their hard-earned money to watch what we do, and as long as they get the good show and they're happy, man, I don't care what happens, and that's what I'm all about.
Is there a certain? I'm gonna go along with his question there too. If you're at a show, and what's your favorite obstacle to do, and what's your favorite move? And if you see your favorite obstacle, does that help you do your favorite move?
I don't really have a favorite move per se. I'm one of the guys that kind of I try to plan out the first two hits, and I just roll with the punches after that. But I've always won. I like the big air. I like the oh crap, that was way too hard to hit that one, but you find them right ramps that are poppy and nice distance, man. I'm going to hit that thing as hard as I can, but I really truly don't have a favorite go-to move per se. The backflips, they're always fun, but they're kind of they're at the point, you're going to break something regardless if you land it or you don't land it. And it's too much of a gamble on that end of it, really.
I want to show some love here on the Instagram side of stuff. Jessica Dial, hey, how's it going? Four Wheeler Jack, what's going on? Joshua Doomslayer said, "Hey, Cheech, Steve, dude, I can't wait to see the new truck perform, dude." Show some love there. Someone said it was a good day to wear a Hurricane Force t-shirt. So that's some cool stuff right there. Cody Saucier is on too. He said, "What's up?" So
what's up, Cody?
Jason Court over there in old Canada, he said hi and stuff like that. So let's go with that too. I know. Keith Vault said, "Miss working with you, Steve." He's a Monster Jam tech official / safety inspector. You have a chance to go do a lot of stuff in America and Canada. How are the fan interactions? I know this would be a Brad question, but you go to Montreal, and then you go to some of the. I just feel like here in the States, I feel like the doing the fairs and the local racetrack shows, I just feel like brings out the humbleness out of someone. Even though it's only selling out between 1,000, 2,000, or 500 people, those people are there just to watch a show compared to maybe 35,000 or 25,000 at a stadium event. But the atmosphere, I just thought, for me, is pretty cool. Even though I haven't ran or drove a truck in a big stadium, but I have worked, I've seen, I've sit, I've felt the vibes and stuff like that. But for you doing all sorts of that stuff, especially in Canada, in Montreal, I mean, how's the vibes compared to the United States?
Oh, up in Montreal, that place is just off the chain. That place it's one of those places you pull into and you don't realize how big it is until you're actually pulling into the floor itself. And that opens up and it's just like, wow, man, we put 55, 60,000 people at that place every time we go up there. And the atmosphere, it's electric. These people, we go up there once a year at best. So, it's nothing, it's not the mainstream down here like it is in the States. You don't just turn on TV and there it is, or go to your local fair and there it is. It's a lot more far and few behold on the shows. So my experience, the people in Canada, man, they're a lot more appreciative. Like I said, this isn't something they get to see every day as often as we do. So they're definitely more appreciative of it, and they really love it. Especially with the Superfoot truck. Going up there, going to some of these places that truck's been to way 30 years ago, and people bringing out their grandchildren now that showing them this truck that they remember seeing this truck, and showing pictures of it when they seen it. So that part is really cool. The history of it. And, but like I said, man, just going to the different countries alone, and we've been to Canada, been to Mexico, I've been to Brazil. It's just it's an incredible thing to go see it. But like I said, I mean, the people they're so more appreciative, and they love it that much more because it's not the everyday thing they get to see.
I know we're fans and stuff like that. So we got a little bit of a history question here by Kurt Nagy. He said he'd been watching Renegade Tour, TNT Renegade Tour. What trucks from the 1988 to 1990 era were your favorites?
I always like No Problem.
Hey,
I don't know why, but that truck, man, I always loved that truck. That one, Nightlife. I don't really have,
because you saw a lot of those trucks at Hagerstown.
Right. I grew up a quarter mile down the street from Mike Vodder. So back in the 90s, these guys would always come to Mike's shop and Mike's farm, they'd all group up there. So, we got a lot of cool pictures from back in the day. You got Taurus 3, Taurus 4 on a wide load or open deck trailer going down the road behind their old motor home. And, Dennis pulling in with his old black Peterbilt, painted up, Gravedigger, everything. So, independent life back then. So it was definitely cool to experience that. We were fortunate enough to see it, but like I said, man, it's to choose one favorite truck from that era. That's tough. That was my childhood there. So it was a monster truck. It had big tires. I was all about that thing. It didn't matter what it was.
That's kind of cool. You like No Problem. I had the RC truck right behind me, just helping out with J Concepts. Once again, that truck right there. You can get all your stuff at jconcepts.net pretty much and build yourself your own No Problem truck. So, I mean, did you help out with the unfinished business?
To an extent, I was kind of working my regular job there. So I wasn't really full blown monster trucks, but we did get the body mounted up. The Carolina Crusher, it was on our chassis, the Eddie chassis. So, I was a big part of that, getting that truck ready to go, getting the body mounted, things like that. But as far as the show, I wasn't able to make the show because of the real job thing getting in the way of fun and responsibilities, and so wasn't able to really enjoy it. But to sit back and watch it as a fan, man, it was really cool to see that.
Are you going to be running the Superfoot truck, driving that next week at the?
I am not. I am actually off this weekend when they're going to the Hall of Fame. I believe Mike Botters Jr. is going to be driving it, but don't quote me on that. We're still trying to get the truck together actually and get it in the trailer so they can get out there. But that's where we're standing with that one.
Man, that's pretty cool. And with the history of Hagerstown, I don't think they ran this year, but you said they do. The guys coming in the Vodder shop and stuff like that. But was there a certain show? Do you still remember on the top of your head when you were there that you were like, man, I got to drive one of these things?
Yeah, I remember Tom Mintz. He was still in Monster Patrol. So that shows you how long ago this one was. But I remember he went out and went the backside to cars and stood it straight up and down, rolled backwards, and man, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen, And for him to come back to the next day, I didn't know any better. This monster truck just crashed, and he came back the next day, and that was that blew my mind, And from that point on, is like I was always a big fan of monster trucks, but able to see that in person, man, that made the ignition so much harder.
When you first started driving, and now that's kind of crazy because the goal that kind of made you turn driving monster trucks, well, guess what? The sister truck to that truck that you first drove was Taurus, which Monster Patrol 4 was Tom Mentz's was Taurus 4. The the way I was trying to ask this question was there was certain drivers like Tom or whoever that did you try to look into driving wise when you first started?
I didn't really follow anyone's driving footstep per se. I kind of took notes from a lot of different people. Tom would, his racing, he'd always be powerful in the turn. So I'd kind of watch how he entered and left the turns, what he did. Dennis with the throttle rhythm. So like I said, I always kind of took little notes from just multiple different drivers and kind of put them into what I thought was a good combination. But there was definitely different drivers. Scott Buteau, when we started doing the backflip, he was a big one I went to, and Jimmy Cretin, especially talking with the flips, those guys did a lot of them. But like I said, we just kind of watched and studied and kind of put together our own recipe, I guess you want to say, for driving style.
And it was also another thing is last week you came back you also ran in a nice historic grounds, Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, with Brandon DeRoe. Brandon DeRoe, and Bad News, was there in July with the 4-wheel drive jamboree, but this time was with the fairgrounds itself. Did you go to Bloomsburg a lot when you were younger? And if so, how cool was it to drive back in that historic area?
My first time I went to Bloomsburg was 2001 or 2. So we went up there a handful of times, not really as a kid, but as I really started crewing for Vaughters, that was kind of our yearly stop, I guess you want to say. So be able to to go back there and actually drive for myself and put on a show, and it was cool. It kind of watch your career, I guess, come full circle, if you want to say, from being the guy that pushes the tires, doing the grunt work, to being the guy who owns the truck and being hired to put in, to come in and put on the show.
And still push tires and do the grunt work.
Yeah.
You used to have a lot more on the card.
That's it.
But still, that was cool. And you had a bunch of stuff going on there. But like you said, it was kind of a full circle moment. And then also with that, you're driving with Brandon, and you had a couple times with that. I mean, that he shows proof that you don't need to have new technology to have the truck looking like it's brand new. That truck's chassis is older than yours, but no one can, could say the difference between that and a brand new truck that debuted 2 years ago.
That's no joke. Those guys, man, I don't know how they do it. That truck is spotless. I've never seen. That's the only truck I can see that goes through a mud pit and comes out spotless. It's
him and Gil Wilson.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, man, but it's hats off to them, because that thing is that truck is always spectacular looking. That's for sure.
I bet you it's just crazy because we were there at Bloomsburg this year, and we got the champagne back and running on Kurtz. It's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They're up also washing that truck from top to bottom, getting the mud off of everything that they had in the mud show the night beforehand. They're around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning just to keep that, shined up and ready to go. And hats off to them for keeping that thing. But outside of that, though, the chassis was built in 2004. So it's still a Gen 2, early Gen 3. Patrick, I think it's still a Gen 2 Patrick.
I believe so, yeah.
And it's still that nice and stuff like that. It's a testament to prove to people that sometimes you don't need it's just you have to take care of it, and it'll last you as long as you need to.
That's it. The preventive maintenance goes a long way. Like you said, that truck's 20 years old now, and that truck is fast. That thing, he's a handful when you're racing him, that's for sure. It's a good piece, but like you said, it's you don't need the top of the art to come out here and perform and be the top guy. You just need to it's preventive maintenance. When when the walk away, when the step up, whatever it may be. It's all on how you treat your equipment.
Man, that's pretty cool. So, like you said, you have someone asked about your up and coming events. I think he said that there's one in Pennsylvania and two in Virginia.
I believe so. I believe it's Meyerdale, Pennsylvania, and that'll be next weekend. And then I know for sure we're going down to Coburn, Virginia on October 26th, along with War Wizard for a 2-truck little deal down there. But like I said, we're kind of doing them down their year. But if things come in, we're kind of grabbing them if they make sense.
Mm-hmm. And this is pretty cool. I know Corey Snyder was on just a little bit earlier, saying, "Hey, we got more people, Faith Preed, and the Virginia Giant team." So that's pretty cool. Is any social media people follow yet?
We got a handful of followers. We've definitely been stepping up the following for sure. It seems like buy this truck, you got a lot more attention. We don't really work the social media, I guess, as much as we should. Definitely keep our hands busy in the shop with hands-on stuff, but it definitely helps out. That's proven.
All right, man. Well, thank you for being on, and thank you for taking your time and catching up and everything like that, Steven.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man.
Man, so next week we're possibly getting another RC talk, but this time it could be Jason Rona or we got one more last question before we go, and someone asked, what's favorite style of course for your racing?
Oh man, I really enjoyed the S turn, like they did up in Wildwood. That was always a fun one. I always enjoyed I guess it was called the South California Anaheim style racing, I believe. That was always fun. I like the tricky ones. I like the ones that it's a driver's course and not just kind of a point and shoot kind of thing.
Yeah, you can. I'm starting to like the turning courses and stuff like that too. Hey, Dalton Van Skylark, what's going on, man? Jeffrey Fielding. Now everyone's popping up now. When I leave, now you guys shut up. Show up.
That's how it
what's
goes,
going on? Yeah, it's that thing when you're closing up shop and people are like, "You guys still open?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay, come on in. Yeah. Or you're running the ride truck and then you have a line saying, "Hey, can you have one more person in the ride?" And
that's it.
Before you know it, it's 2 hours past your closing time and you're still giving people rides.
That's it, but it's the money though. That's coming in.
Yeah.
Get those rolling ATM machines.
I think every ride truck team needs to have an ATM machine along with them.
Yeah, that'd be the ticket.
Yeah. But
I don't have
man,
cash, well, let me help you.
Yep, I'll just go over there and we'll take $6 from you, and then you go ahead and give us some cash. You're at a monster truck. Yeah,
there you go. We all leave happy.
Well, I gotta have you on there one time, Dalton. I message you, bud, and then we'll have you on the Stomper truck and stuff like that, and have some fun with that. But man, once again, Steven, thank you for being on, and like the fans said, catch them here in the next couple weeks and around Virginia and Pennsylvania. Well, first Pennsylvania, then Virginia. And are you going to be at the hall?
We are not. I got a little too much on my plate for this week to make it out there. As far as the
I'm talking about the Hall of Fame
ceremonies.
Event. Yeah,
I got you. We might. We haven't really decided yes or no. I'm one of them guys that I can't really make plans. I just wake up and whatever I feel like doing, that's what we're going to do. So you never know. We show up, we may not.
All right. Hey, no problem, Dalton. And Keith, thank you. Keep the rubber side down, Steven.
Yes,
that's
sir.
what Keith said that. So once again, thank you guys for everything you have done. Thank you for J Concepts, Monster Truck Attitude. Thank you again for what you guys have done, Hall Brothers Racing. Also Bradley Shaw Designs, MTRC, and Back Channel Productions. Once again, that is Steven Thompson Jr. And Brad Shaw. Want to say also, Brad Shaw is a little bit late at work, so he missed out, but he's gained that money. So that's all that matters. He'll be maybe back on next week, and we'll have Brad on there too. So once again, also with Monster Truck Attitude. Me and him are gonna do the special for Halloween Havoc and Halloween Madness. I mean, and hopefully we'll get around two versing each other and all that jazz. But see you guys. Have a good one. Once again, like Brad always says, it's okay to call and ask for help. Talk to people. Like Brad always calls me for help and stuff like that, and just do that. There's hotlines all over the place. Just go ahead, and it's okay to do that. Brad always says that. He's one that is a recover, that had his demons also, that has rised up to the occasion in the battles. So go ahead and feel free to talk to someone. Just you're worth it. Also, uh, donate some blood. Helps out with my friend Matt Schultz. Go to your local Red Cross, Central Blood Bank, maybe sometimes the universities and stuff like that, schools that do that stuff for medical reasons. Do that. Helps out. May help someone that's right now in a dire need of a social situation that's going on right now. I do that to keep on with this podcast with Matt Schultz and all that jazz too. So go ahead and try to donate some blood and help out. But outside of that, folks, if you go Dan MT / Dan Agosh 28 on Instagram, Dan Cheech Agosh on Facebook, I'm on TikTok and stuff like that. Not on Twitter or X, whatever the hell that is. I don't know, but I'm not on that. But go ahead and take a look at that. Monster Truck Knucker. Brad's on that too. So I don't. He's on Instagram and Bradshaw on Facebook. So once again, next week we're probably gonna have. I'm trying to get Jason Rona or Greg Sopa from Horizon Hobbies, and try to be on. And then the week after that, Josh Zeichel, aka Farmer, the crew chief, and drives occasionally for the Sinistar, Frontier, or Colossus monster truck for Monster Truck Throwdown, Elliot Miller's group, stuff like that. He's going to be on the week after that. So that's going to be some fun times. And then maybe the week after that, we'll get Dalton on. So that'd be fun to have. So once again, guys, like Brad always says, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.